He was Outland Trophy winner, First Team All-America, First Team All-Pac-10, Morris Trophy winner, UPI Lineman of the Year, Lombardi Trophy runner-up, and co-offensive MVP. The 8th Bruin to have his jersey retired, he's been named to 8 consecutive Pro Bowls and helped Baltimore win the 2001 Super Bowl. He also won the 1996 NCAA Indoor Shot Put title. Ladies and gentlemen, Jonathan Ogden.
Jonathan is in Denver getting ready to play the Broncos on Monday night with the Baltimore Ravens. His brother is here to accept for him, Marques Ogden. Come on up, Marques.
Well, like my brother, he didn't tell me about this until like a week before, so you have to excuse the speech. First, I'd like to say thanks to table number 3, my adopted family, table number 3. They've been very kind to me, especially the Farmer family. They've just been great. Jonathan loved this university. He still does. When he was coming out of high school, I remember he was looking at Notre Dame, Florida State, Virginia, and UCLA. And he took a trip to UCLA in January. And in D.C. in January, you're looking at about, 15 below zero. Out here, it's about, 60 or 70 degrees. So he fell in love with Terry Donahue, and he came to our house, and my father just loved him and said, Jonathan, if you're going to go that far away from home, Terry Donahue's the place you want to go, and with UCLA, because Terry Donahue is a great guy. My father was going to be here, but he passed away, unfortunately, 2 months ago. So, it's just been tough for me and Jonathan, but, we're going to keep going on and keep the fight going. But to talk about Jonathan here, I ran into Coach Art. He's right. He's over there smiling at me, looking at me crazy. He talked about when Jonathan was a freshman, Jonathan weighed about 360 pounds. And Art said, Jonathan, you know what? You're a great athlete, but this is not going to work. You're just too big. You need to lose some weight. And the coach told me he got Jonathan down to 295 pounds. And he went from 295, he gained some weight, and he got up to about 315. Ever since then, Jonathan has excelled in football. He's been one of the best linemen that I've ever learned. I have to thank you all for me because I was drafted into the NFL, and without Jonathan learning from you all in this school, I wouldn't be the player I am. So I have to thank you all also as a staff and as an organization because Jonathan always talked about his love of UCLA and his love for the Bruins. According to Coach Venegas, there's a story about Jonathan throwing shot put, which I didn't realize. Jonathan was the only athlete to ever be an NCAA shot put winner and to be a All-American in both sports ever, the only player ever. So Jonathan was on a plane, where was it to, Coach? To the Nationals. And the guy who was beating Jonathan at that time was on a plane with them. And according to Coach, he was in the aisle, and a stewardess came by and rolled over his foot with a little little push cart, and he could not throw in the Nationals. So Jonathan ended up winning the Nationals and became and he became the only player to do that. And Coach always said that he thought Jonathan paid the stewards to do that. And I said, you know what, Coach, that's possible. My brother's very cheap, so I just don't think that's just something he would do. So, that's just, and I was talking to Danny, and Danny was here with Jonathan a little bit after. Danny was a couple years after, but Jonathan was always a very quiet guy. It still is. He just goes to work every day. You don't hear a lot of contract disputes. You don't hear a lot of issues with him. A whole lot, I'm the best player, this and that. Jonathan just thinks that he's a football player that can get better every day. And that's what he taught me. I was talking to one of his coaches here, how Jonathan was one of his favorites. Everywhere I go, I see Jonathan was always somebody's favorite. He always seemed to be liked by everybody. He always seemed to just be the kind of guy you would always go up to and talk to and real nice to. And he just gets along with everybody. And I have to thank our father for that. Our father was just the same kind of guy that we are. And there's no other place I think Jonathan would have ever wanted to come. Like I said, he looked at Notre Dame, other schools, but he just didn't like Lou Holtz. Just thought he was just, too much of a tyrant. He liked Florida, but he thought Steve Spurrier was a little too laid back. And then he liked George Welsh at Virginia, but he just seemed a little crazy. So he said, you know what, Terry Donahue was a little laid back, but you know what, if I'm going to go somewhere and play football, I might as well go play in the sunshine versus go play in the cold weather. So that's what he got. That's why he ended up there. I went to Howard, and every time that I used to talk to Jonathan, I was about maybe 12, or let me see, about 12, 13, 14. I'm 6 years younger than Jonathan. He always said, Marcus, you got to come here. I'm like, man, you know what? I hear you, but you know, I'm in high school, man. I'm just growing up. I don't know anything about that kind of stuff yet. But I see why Jonathan attended this university. You all have a lovely campus. You all have the best, just the way you treat people here is just awesome. I mean, I've been here for only a day, and I told my agent, our agent is Marvin Demoff, who's out of Westwood, and I told him, I said, boss, I see why you live here now. I see, you know, because it's just a great atmosphere. I had a chance to meet Bill Walton, and I don't want to tell Bill this, but Jonathan is one of your biggest fans. He thinks the world of you. He thinks that you're just a great commentator. He thinks that you're just a down-to-earth kind of guy, and that's what he loves about you. And then Mr. Wooten, I said, I've known about you, sir, since I was in grade school, and I don't even play basketball. I'm a football player. But to know that the history that Jonathan attended, to see the kind of people that are in this room tonight, makes me understand why Jonathan went so far away from home to come here. If my brother was going to go somewhere this far away from home, I'm truly glad that he came here to be with you all, because it was the best experience of his life. He wished he could be here. But like I said, you know, unfortunately, you know, when my father passed away, I took some time off from football to be with my family, get my brother together. He's doing well. They're 4-0. They're doing great. He said he wished he could be here, but I said, I'm going to be here for you. But I just wanted to thank you from the bottom of my heart and my brothers for just taking such good care of him. And like I said, just understand that there's a guy on the other side of the coast who loves this university and spreads its joy, its history, and its tradition. And I just want to thank you all for having me here as a non-UCLA person myself. And I trust, if I could have gone here, you guys, I would have gone here. But I just want to thank you all for taking this care of my brother and my family. I thank you so much, and I'd like to accept this award on behalf of my brother, and thank you all for having me here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Marcus. Well said about his brother, Jonathan Ogden. He was a special guy when he was on campus, still is, and we're very proud of him. When he arrived on campus, next inductee, Annette Salim.
She was a 4-year All-American swimmer, a 4-year academic All-American, and the first Bruin female to capture an NCAA individual title. During a magical senior campaign, she won 2 Pac-10 titles, was named UCLA Female Athlete of the Year, Alumni Association Outstanding Senior, and received the NCAA Top 8 Award. An NCAA Women of the Year finalist, she received an NCAA Postgraduate Scholarship and was UCLA's 8th Rhodes Scholar. A '96 U.S. Olympic gold medalist, she completed her doctorate at Oxford University in 2001. The one and only Annette Salim.
So thank you so much. It's a great honor to be here tonight. And I remember from my very first visit to UCLA, I had a very good feeling about it. And but I remember looking around in quite a lot of awe at the Olympians and NCAA champions that were around the campus. And I think some of you are here tonight. And I want to congratulate the other inductees and also thank the people that made this university such an amazing place and helped to give me such a great experience. When I think of UCLA, I try to think of a funny story that would encapsulate my UCLA experience, but I felt like that was kind of impossible. We did have, and I say say we because I shared this with some special friends that are here tonight in the audience, had sort of a philosophy to really be grateful for sort of the small things that we got at this university every day. And those small things sort of included things from like this great intensity of Cindy Gallagher, the women's swimming coach who's here tonight, standing over my lane with a stopwatch and trying to go faster on the next 100 than I had on the previous one, to sitting in this organic chemistry class trying to follow the synthesis reaction that this professor is writing on the board at this pace that I can't possibly follow. To this just joy of laughing with my teammates, like doing cheers on campus in our swimsuits at the Bear. And some of you may have seen that, I'm not sure, at least other swimmers. To the sort of joy of when on that organic chemistry test you finally can connect those two pieces and you actually put it together. So a lot of times people ask me, they say, Annette, you did swimming and you did school and you said, how do you do it and did you have a social life? And I actually think that I did it partially because I had a social life and I had an amazing social life. And I have 4 of my dear friends here tonight. So Jill, Allison, Leslie, and Erin. Erin was my roommate for 5 years, and no matter, I had 2 alarm clocks set, and one of them was quiet, and one of them was loud. And the loud one we called the bullhorn. And when the bullhorn went off, Erin would sometimes say, Annette, it's time to wake up. And I would say, okay. And not once in the entire time did she not have a smile on her face when I came home and asked me how my day was. And then I had these great discussions. Jill, Allison, and Leslie were also roommates of mine or lived in the apartment upstairs. And when we were home studying on a Friday night, that was okay. And then they'd come home and we'd take a break and go down for Dee Dee Reese cookies. And so I want to thank them. It's really special tonight. I think the last time that at least some of us were together was the 1996 Olympics, drinking milkshakes after winning the medal. So I want to thank them for being here tonight. And I also want to thank Cindy for having built this great program that supported me in doing both athletics and academics, and thank her also for being here tonight. And then finally, I have my family here from Michigan who has been just this continuous source of support for me through the years, and they, through the telephone calls and through care packages and funny messages on my answering machine. And if I talk too much about them, I start to cry, so I'm not going to go too much farther. And then finally, I have my boyfriend Sean here tonight, who didn't know me at UCLA, but gets to have this great flavor tonight of the Bruin family. And so thank you again for this great honor. And I just also, Leslie and Erin both have their husbands, Russell and Todd, here with them, and they've left their children at home tonight. So I want to thank them for making that effort to be here for a special reunion. And thank you all again.
Athletics and academics, I guess so. 96 Olympic gold medalist. Got a doctorate degree from Oxford. Annette Salim. Congratulations. Now we move on to soccer and rugby. And our next inductee is Dennis Storer.
He was extraordinarily successful as a UCLA faculty member and head coach of the men's soccer and rugby programs. Named head soccer coach in 1967, and with no scholarships to offer, he coached UCLA to 3 NCAA second-place finishes, 3 West Coast championships, 5 All-Cal titles, and compiled a remarkable 103-10-10 record. In rugby, his teams went 362-46-2 and won 3 national championships. UCLA Rugby also won every All-Cal title and 16 Southern California Division championships. Honored by Queen Elizabeth II in 1994 for services in education, he is the incomparable Dennis Storer.
Well, what can I say? It is perhaps for me the greatest honor of all the inductees who I congratulate to be here today. I've lived 41 years in America after 34 years in Britain. And despite a good life there, it was changed when I came as a young teacher to study at this incredible university that I knew, the intercollegiate athletic system of education. Something I believed in, something I practiced as a young teacher and athletic director at an English school. I had no idea in coming for 2 years that I'd be here for over 40. I'd like to say that it is such an honor here, and particularly because over 70, 75 of my friends and my family, including my wife, who never allows me to talk about her, but are here with me, and many of my lads. My lads, if they don't mind it, I've always thought of them as that. They're all very large, grey-haired, bald, some of them. But I coach sports, and in coming to UCLA to study this system, I became part of it. J.D. Morgan asked me to start the first NCAA soccer program, and also to take over an existing rugby program, who he said, "Dennis, we've got to beat Cal." Cal was the top. By the way, we did many times. When I came, I realized that the success we had with soccer, first of all, and with rugby, the near 90, statistics, near 90%, close to 90% for both sports. Certainly wasn't just because of me. The soccer had a crowd of on-campus students. And the group that we formed, 17 different nationalities, out of about 30. I think most of my work for my soccer years was getting them to know each other, to care for each other, which they did. They were from 20 countries in the world at times, and to put their skills, many of them had played some soccer before, into what we did. The fact that we went to NCAA championships after 2 or 3 years, and it was a wonderful surprise. I gave it up because I couldn't teach, coach soccer, coach rugby, run the National Youth Sports Program, teach the phys ed program, teaching young Sue Enquist as well, I think, and do all that. So I did give up the soccer, and UCLA, bless them, have progressed with ex-players, Siggy Schmidt, who went to the pros, to more national championships. The rugby, I think, went very well, because it was at a time when we were able to invite over international teams from Australia and New Zealand.